Okay, now we're going to go next day. Are you sure? Yes.
David hunts,
I can change my skin.
then skins.
Dr. Dekker dated his patients.
I had a hot date.
We went out for drinks.
I took photos of Jessica.
Dr. Dekker did phone
Yes, you do. I've worked enough.
ask me for
Who's like for
Nathan's
that?
number. There was a girl there.
Am I wrong to keep the locket?
I'm allowed to talk to her, aren't I?
He was preoccupied with finding
Photographs.
patterns.
Rocking chair.
I haven't been back to the beach since
I had a bit of a shaky loop incident.
where I find something
I set fire
beautiful in the sea.
to Hannah's clothes in the garden. I dug the grave.
I wish I'd said goodbye.
Dr. Dekker cursed me.
It didn't weigh enough to have a body in it.
Oh, everyone's acting all freaky deaky.
Oh, Doctor,
Hello.
you surprised me. Reminds me of Officer Yates. Did I ever mention I had a special friend in the police force? Nah, it's not something you drop politely into a conversation. He's been doing some digging and he's found a couple things. There's a crime scene report that goes into all the gory details and another report that's about a patient you're seeing today, Claire. I'll put them both on the desk for you. And thanks for the grief counselling, by the way. It's really been helping, you know, I'm so glad you're here.
Act 3, Spikes. Mate, she's still got the hots for me. First off, we're starting with Claire, and we're using the evidence. Easy. Alright, okay. Oh, here we go. First off, we're looking at Claire's arrest report. Ooh. Oh, is that it? No, Claire. Crime scene report. Reads of the victim's heart for Lewis Hampton was in 8:30. Her report discovered at 2017. Oh, Dr. Dekker, drinking a chair, soaked with blood. Wait, why is there no bit to come back? Yeah, okay. Right, so we've looked at the... Dan got chased around the room by the guy dressed like a gorilla. Was it Jack? Alright, back to the questions. Do you know anything about the paper
A
spike?
paper spike is an odd thing to use as a weapon. I suppose if it went directly into the heart, it might work. Or through his eye, or perhaps through the ear into his brain. Or was it just a frenzied, bloody mess of a murder? Do you know, Doctor?
God, they're all... have you seen your arrest report?
It makes for interesting reading, doesn't it? I can tell you're dying to ask me about it. Fire away.
Why is she proud of...
That's what it says. I can see you're confused. The police say that David is dead, fatally wounded when I stabbed him. The coroner says that David is dead. Everyone says that David is dead. There was even a funeral. But I know he's alive.
Why is she acting weird now?
I've been to the lake house regularly, keeping an eye on David. I saw the girl again, the one I told you about. She was playing outside.
How can David is
He's buried at Henley Church. You can go see for yourself. There's even a headstone.
I think he's
One
back.
of your other patients was a pallbearer.
I think he's back. Broad
I never
Street's
forget
actually
her
quite
face.
good.
You should ask him. Bryce was a pallbearer for David. He's also a grave digger, I believe. Smuggling a body out of a funeral can be difficult, unless you pay the right people. David wanted to have a talk about our relationship. Not something any married person wants to hear.
Good.
He said he'd been with Iris for about a year and that he loved her. He said he didn't love me anymore, which I know is a lie. You don't just fall out of love with somebody. I reacted badly. I grabbed the nearest weapon I could find, which happened to be the steak knife, and stabbed him with it. There was so much blood. I instantly regretted it. So I fixed him. It was about a week later. I brought David back to life. Not with voodoo, not with virginal sacrifice. I just willed it to happen, and it did. Dr. Dekker told me it was possible, but only if you're not buried. He says once you're in the ground, there's no coming back. But until then, you have a chance at resurrection.
What?
Yes, resurrection. But now that I've seen the results, I don't think there's anything holy about it. I think reanimation is more an accurate term. Like, I'm an evil necromancer raising things from the dead. I think his brain was already decaying during the week that he was dead. Important bits. So when I brought him back to life, I didn't heal him completely. Just gave him life in the state he was in. I mean, he's hunting and killing things and trying to roast them on fires he can only light with matches, but that's about it. He's your basic Neanderthal. So I have a problem. I'm being charged with murder because the police don't know he's still alive, and I can't get David to vouch for me for obvious reasons. I think it would raise quite a few more questions than answers, which is why I'm hoping that you'd be able to help me.
How can I help you?
Considering the circumstances, I'd be grateful if you could see your way to declaring me temporarily insane at the time of the murder, to lessen my sentence. Because I'm not a killer, but I can't prove otherwise. You don't still think I'm a killer, do you, Doctor? Thank you, Doctor. So then you'll help me. You'll say I was temporarily insane.
No, you weren't temporarily.
I'm going to pretend that I didn't hear that. Let's have a few more sessions before you seal our fates. Or is it that you want something else? Like Dr. Dekker did. Dr. Dekker teased me mercilessly about my electability. He didn't believe I'd reanimated David. Once, he presented me with a dead mouse and commanded me to give it life again. I didn't, of course. It's not something I'd throw around lightly.
So why didn't you then?
He changed his mind about me eventually. And then he mentioned the girl.
What girl?
He told me he'd locked up a girl in the basement of his house. Just for me. And he asked me to reanimate her. It was Iris. I said I couldn't reanimate something that wasn't dead, and he said that wouldn't be a problem. So I agreed. I just played along. I was hoping it wasn't real. I assumed it wasn't real. But he was offering me what I wanted. A temporary insanity diagnosis. It didn't happen. Dr. Dekker called me from his house to cancel. He was furious. He said that Iris had escaped, and he blamed me for it. He said that I must have set her free after he told me about her. I knew it was all lies anyways. He was obviously titillating himself by reprimanding me. He knew I'd never want to speak to Iris again, so I couldn't prove it either way. Dr. Dekker asked if I could prove David wasn't dead, so I took him to the lake house. He saw that I was telling the truth. I can take you to see him too, if you like. Would you like to see David, Doctor?
Yes. Yes.
Very well. In our next session.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. How is it possible it's being brought back to life?
You tell me. What could possibly explain that?
Do you think you might be seeing David's ghost?
I assure you, David is not a ghost. I've touched him.
Where did you touch him? You love DB alive.
If David doesn't exist, then that means that I really did kill him. He really is buried, and I really should be going to prison for a very long time. That just doesn't seem right to me. It's more probable that I reanimated him under Dr. Dekker's guidance. Since I brought him back, I felt that there was something different about him, something not quite right. I think it's his brain. But how ludicrous that you can bring someone back in the first place. It's like that book, Pet Cemetery.
Good movie.
Funnily enough, he does smell of earth, but that's because he spends most of his time out hunting.
Are you lying outside?
How astute, Doctor. Yes, I did say I hadn't seen Dr. Dekker outside of our sessions. That wasn't a lie. Our trip to the lake house was made during a session. I didn't speak to her this time. Something about her made me feel uneasy. I just watched her from the bedroom window. She'd caught a fish. She was holding it in her hands.
A fucking fish! I didn't go.
I wasn't close enough to see, but for all intents and purposes, it looked as if the fish bit her. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I caught a fish alive.
Oh man, this is freaky deaky. The best report says
It's a messy business, stabbing someone. You'd imagine that it would be like slicing into a pie with all the filling just slowly oozing out, but it's so much more dramatic, like popping a cork of a bottle of champagne. Blood sprayed everywhere.
oh no. Oh, definitely don't press the bottom one. Can you prove David is
I have a picture of him I took after he came back. I'll bring it in next session.
okay? So looks like according to this, it's that she hasn't turned green yet. So it looks like I have to talk to other patients.